Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. If you're watching this video when it comes out or in the future, we are here with another tier list, and today we're going to dive into the world of Warzone, the popular Battle Royale game from Call of Duty. Today we're going to be talking about equipment. We're going to be talking about the in the game in Warzone. You have your guns, but you also have your equipment that you hold, things like grenades and other tactical devices that'll help you do well. Our ranks today are meta, underrated. I'm not sure why that was erased, but underrated. Under that, we have viable, okay, and then at the bottom, we are going to have meme or near useless. So, meta means that these things are used a lot and are very good. Underrated, viable, okay, those are self-explanatory. And then at the bottom, some of these are okay, but they're more of a meme, right? It's more funny to use them. So, without further ado, let's hop in. The first thing we have is the C4. I think the C4 is viable. I think the fact that it is the only equipment in the game that just easily annihilates almost any vehicle, with the exception of the trucks. I think that's always going to make it viable. Now, it's not always going to be what you want for a certain situation, but I don't think the C4 is trash. I don't think it's near useless. I think it's very good in those specific situations, and it's going to do its job better than the other equipments if your objective is to take out a vehicle, I guess, or in certain situations where you need to drop a lethal right underneath yourself. It's viable. Next, we have the C4. I think the C4 is, I don't know that it's meta because I don't know that people are using it, but I do think the C4 is pretty underrated. If you run the restock class with C4, it's kind of a campy setup, kind of a going for win setup. A lot of people don't like that style of play, but I do think it is valuable, and I do think it is good. And I prefer Claymores more than Mines, and I'll get to why that is in a minute. But Claymores, I think, are underrated if you're an aggressive player, obviously the Claymore isn't going to do as much for you, but I think some people could benefit from using more Claymores, players who don't play as aggressive. Decoy grenades are near useless, right? There's a fringe chance that your decoy will distract a player at the right moment, but it's just not that good, right? Flash grenades, they're viable. They would not be my first choice for my tactical, but they're definitely viable. You flash somebody, and they're going to be stunned for a sec, flashed for a sec. We'll get to the stun grenade somewhere in here. They're going to be flashed for a sec, not able to shoot you. They're viable, for sure. Next, we have the frag grenades. I think the frag grenades are viable. The fact that they rebound in a predictable way and in a way that you can control a lot of times. Now, not everybody is the best at controlling that, but the fact that they do rebound and go in a way where you can kind of plan for that, expect that. I think frag grenades are a very viable, if I could speak, option here for your equipment. Next, we have gas grenades. They're just they don't do a lot, right? You can kind of lock down an area with gas grenades, but for the most part, the person can just shoot you through it. You have to basically land a gas grenade right on top of somebody, and if you landed pretty much any of these on top of somebody, it's gonna do its job, right? So, I don't know. Gas, maybe you could put in okay. Kind of a meme too, right? Running like gas with smoke grenades and stuff. Well, I guess you couldn't run both. Yeah, you could run both. No, you can't. No, they're both tags. Yeah, okay. So what would you run gas with if you were trying to be funny? Molotov, maybe? I don't know. I think it's not that great. Heartbeat's meta. A lot of people use heartbeat sensor. I think it's still the most popular tactical equipment. A lot of people don't want to give up. And I think it is kind of training wheels sometimes, even for me. I'm not the best player on the planet by any means, but I definitely don't want to give up my heartbeat sometimes, even though in some situations having that stun, that flash grenade would be a lot better. Molotov grenades, or Molotov cocktails, I think are underrated. I think Molotovs lock down an area pretty well. And I'm actually going to, I apologize for this, I'm actually going to switch around these colors here, because I think that this would better illustrate kind of what I'm thinking here. So C4s, flash grenades, frags, they're viable in their situations. Claymores and Molotovs are I mean, obviously Claymores are situational as well. Molotovs is underrated, where it is viable, and I think it could even be meta, but not a lot of people are using it. More people definitely use frag grenades than use Molotovs, right? So I think that, yeah, Molotovs are an underrated one. Mines, I think, are okay. I would much rather use a claymore than a proximity mine. And I know the mine does more damage, but it's easier to dodge. If you run and slide underneath a mine, you can oftentimes dodge a lot of that damage. Whereas a claymore, obviously you have to point in the right direction, but a claymore can be put at a door, a window. It's not going to be as easy to stop as a mine, in my opinion. Now, if you put a mine underneath a window, I suppose that's going to get the job done as well. And correct me in the comments if the guys like, I don't know what Iron and OP Marked and these guys that win a lot of games are playing with right now. Maybe they're doing mines, but I believe the last time I checked, they were using claymores, and it's for that reason. That mines, you're able to dodge the damage a little bit easier. So I think mines are okay, but claymore's better. Next, we have the Semtex. Semtex, in my opinion, is the best thing to throw. They're meta. They stick to the wall. You can aim them really well. They go where you want them to go. They do a good amount of damage. And because they have a kind of a delayed detonation and they don't bounce around anywhere, you can kind of use them to hold down a position. If you don't want somebody pushing you from a door, you can just lay one at that door and then quickly rotate if you need to. You can also use it to kill a down player. I think Semtexes are meta. They're very good. That's probably not a surprise to anybody. Smoke grenades are kind of a meme, right? I mean, I'm not sure what the situation that you would run smoke grenades is, outside of trying to be funny, right? Like in almost every situation, you'd just rather run a flash. So I don't know. Maybe there's a situation I'm not thinking of. Snapshot grenades are. I actually have a friend who uses these, and he actually uses them to great effect. He uses them obviously instead of a heartbeat, but obviously he can detect ghosted players with them. I still think they're near useless, but they're not completely useless. I can tell you that from playing with them, but they are near useless. Sorry, Tristan. Stim here. I think Stim's okay. There's some situations where it can be good, I guess, in that final circle. But if you're in the final circle and you have to use a Stim to survive, you've probably done something wrong before that, as in not gotten the kill before that. So, stun grenades are meta. If you're not going to use a heartbeat, I would use a stun. You can also use a flash, but I think stuns are the most popular. They're completely overpowered if you hit a player who does not have very good aim assist, like a PC or mouse and keyboard player. Also, in situations, just certain guns, a sniper that gets stunned can't do anything really. So stun meta, it's good. Thermites are also meta. Same thing as Semtex. Some people prefer the long damage of the Thermites more. I like Semtex better myself, but not going to argue if you want to run a Thermite. And finally, we have the throwing knife. I think the throwing knife is underrated. I think the throwing knife really should be meta. I've seen a lot of people start using this more lately. I've seen a lot of streamers I watch, guys like JLove, Triz, Iceman, Exact. I think Art is War. A lot of these streamers I'm watching have started using the throwing knives to clean up their kills. So when they're running into a situation where there's a lot going on, a hectic situation, they down a guy, they immediately finish them off with the throwing knife. They don't have to worry about the guy self-reviving. They don't have to worry about their friend picking them up. It gets them completely out of the fight, especially in game modes like Rebirth, like Resurgence on Rebirth Island, where you have guys consistently coming back. Just getting them out of the fight for just a minute is going to be so valuable. This thing would be meta if more people used it. I don't know that enough people use it for it to be meta. So I'm going to put in underrated. And of course, this also includes the electrical throwing knife, the flaming throwing knife, and the phlebotomist throwing knife. They all do the same thing, right? So they're underrated. And that's it. That is our tier list. Let me know if you guys agree with this. Let me know if you have any comments for me. If you like random tier lists, me ranking different things every day, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. We'll have a new video out tomorrow at noon Pacific. With that, this has been the guy that makes random tier lists, and I'm signing off.